Spoilers ahead. Watch out, and take care. The movie begins with Marshal Jim Dillon, the dedicated chief of police in the tranquil town of Horse Cave, with its population of fewer than 1,000 residents. Marshal Jim is unwavering in his commitment to maintaining peace within this peaceful community. Assisting him faithfully is Deputy Matt Reynolds. One ordinary day, two members of a biker gang unexpectedly roll into town, catching the attention of Deputy Matt, as they pass by the police station. Matt's curiosity gets the better of him, prompting him to inquire of Jim why these bikers have ventured into their town. It is indeed an unusual sight, especially during the early morning hours. However, Jim reassures Matt, urging him not to be overly concerned. He speculates the biker gang might have lost their way and accidentally found themselves in Horse Cave. Evidently, Matt isn't the only one taken aback by the gang's presence. When they enter a local cafe, all eyes turn toward them, suspicion hanging in the air, as the townsfolk wonder about their intentions. One of the gang members by the name Shovelhead stirs up trouble shortly after entering the cafe. He demands alcohol from the cafe owner, Kathy, even though her establishment doesn't serve liquor in morning. When Kathy refuses, Shovelhead persists, pushing her to serve him a beer. In response, she resorts to hitting him with a bottle, further infuriating him. This escalates into a challenge, as he calls her to a fight. Meanwhile, his companion, Jarhead, stands by, observing the confrontation. Fortunately, Jim arrives at the cafe just in the nick of time. He swiftly intervenes, bringing the fight to an end, subduing Shovelhead and escorting him to the police station. Jim's actions result in Shovelhead's arrest, but Jarhead is allowed to leave without charges. Upon reaching the police station, Jim's suspicion deepens, leading him to believe the biker gang has sinister intentions for the town. Consequently, he instructs Matt to transport Shovelhead to the larger police station, in the nearby city. While Jim remains behind to safeguard the town, his suspicions are soon validated. Matt drives a significant distance away from the city, when the remainder of the motorcycle gang stealthily infiltrates the town. It is revealed Shovelhead was merely a decoy, an allure used to weaken the town's defenses. With minimal security in place, the gang members plan to target the electric substation, plunging the entire city into darkness. At this moment, Jim is inside Kathy's cafe, busily engaged in a flirtatious encounter with her. It is only when the power abruptly vanishes, his sense of unease begins to surface. He promptly returns to the police station to assess the situation. Meanwhile, Matt is en route to a neighboring town, when he encounters a person lying at the roadside. Without any suspicion, he approaches the seemingly injured man, only to realize it is a trap. The man turns out to be a member of the biker gang. As soon as Matt is within striking distance, the man springs to his feet, and aims a firearm at him, taking Matt hostage. Unfortunately, this isn't the gang's only trap. On the opposite side of the road, a patrolling police officer has spotted a speeding van exceeding the speed limit. Pursuing the vehicle, the officer instructs the driver to exit. Unbeknownst to the officer, some gang members have crept up from behind, and fatally shoot him. One of the gang members, Dirty Bob, dons the slain officer's uniform, and commandeers his patrol car. Back at the police station, Jim attempts to reach out to another police station for assistance, but the gang successfully disrupts the phone signals, rendering it impossible to call for help from neighboring cities. At this juncture, the town of Horse Cave has become isolated from the outside world. As Jim listens intently, he hears the approaching rumble of motorcycle engines. He hurries outside to investigate, and discovers the gang has breached the town. The sight of their rivals makes Jim ponder their intentions deeply. However, his thoughts are interrupted when Jarhead, from behind, aims a gun at him. The gang's true objective is finally unveiled. They intend to rob the town's bank. The gang's leader, Diablo, is a native of the town, and is intimately acquainted with its layout and its police chief Jim. This knowledge allows him to plan the robbery meticulously, taking into account what the chief of police can and can't do. To further smoothen the operation, Diablo has one of his loyal followers positioned as a teller within the bank. Once the gang has all the bank employees outside, Diablo instructs the manager to assist his accomplices in opening the bank's vault, who complies, leading them to the front of the safe, and granting them access to its contents. With their successful bank heist accomplished, Diablo dispatches some of his men to escort the bank employees and townspeople to a nearby church, where they will be held captive. However, Jim and the recently arrived deputy are ordered to remain with Diablo, as it appears Diablo has something important to communicate. His grand plan doesn't end with just robbing the bank. He is aware that a casino will be depositing millions of dollars into that bank today, and he covets that money as well. so Diablo and his gang plan to intercept the armored truck delivering the casino funds. The two guards accompanying the truck will be oblivious that the bank they are heading to has just been robbed, thanks to Diablo's successful disruption of communication between the city and the outside world. While they anxiously await the arrival of the armored truck, a sudden barrage of gunshots pierces the air. The source of these shots is none other than an elderly townsman, who possesses exceptional marksmanship skills, hidden expertly from view. One by one, he picks off gang members, forcing the remainder to scramble for cover. In the midst of this chaos, Jim and Matt seize the opportunity to slip away unnoticed. However, amidst their escape, they fail to realize a terrified woman has also been near the scene. The terrified woman, attempting to flee the crossfire, is unfortunately caught by Diablo. He promptly takes her hostage, brandishing a lethal threat. He vows to shoot her, unless the elderly marksman reveals himself. Recognizing the hostage woman as his own wife, the old man reluctantly obeys the command. He can't bear the thought of Diablo harming his wife. He emerges from hiding and implores Diablo to release her. Diablo, unmoved by the man's pleas, callously shoots the elderly man dead. Recognizing the strategic value of the hostage woman, Diablo wastes no time in using her to exert pressure on Jim and Matt, who are now in hiding. He swears to kill her, unless they surrender themselves. In a state of panic, Matt attempts to buy some time by sounding the alarm within the store, where they have taken refuge. Unfortunately, his actions enrage Diablo, prompting him to shoot the woman without hesitation. Realizing that confronting the gang directly is futile, Jim concocts a trap inside the store. He and Matt exit through the rear door, as some gang members approach the building. This cunning trap is designed to activate when the store door is opened, and it does just that. Jim and Matt decide to split up, a tactical maneuver intended to facilitate their surveillance of the gang's movements. For a while, Diablo and his gang allow the two officers some respite, as they await the arrival of the armored truck. Remaining inside the bank, they strategize an ambush on the truck's guards as soon as they arrive. Upon the armored truck's arrival, the driver can't help but feel uneasy about the eerie quietness that has befallen the city. Suspicions arise, prompting him to request that his partner investigate the bank, while he remains in the truck. Unbeknownst to the driver, Diablo and his gang have lain in wait inside the bank. They swiftly apprehend the guard, and escort him back to the truck. They instruct the driver to open the truck's rear door, but when he refuses, Diablo ruthlessly shoots the guard. With the guard disposed of, Diablo and his accomplices resort to explosives to blow open the truck's back door. After seizing the money from the truck, they hasten to the church, where they hold the citizens and bank employees hostage. In a menacing move, Diablo singles out Kathy, and threatens to use her as leverage against Jim and Matt. Meanwhile, Matt, armed with his long-barreled rifle, positions himself near the church. His intention is to take aim at Diablo and his gang, and eliminate them with a single well-aimed shot. However, Jim is well aware of Matt's limited long-range shooting skills, and is apprehensive that the bullet might inadvertently strike Kathy. Consequently, he prohibits Matt from taking the shot. Despite the objections, Matt refuses to remain passive, and seeks to engage directly with Diablo, hoping to secure Kathy's release. He eventually makes the fateful decision to open fire. Witnessing Matt's surrender, Jim can't resist taking aim at one of the gang members. His bullets find their mark, infuriating Diablo. In a fit of rage, Diablo orders his henchmen to retrieve both Kathy and Matt, ushering them back into the church. Meanwhile, he and the remainder of his gang set out to hunt down Jim, unaware of the traps Jim has cleverly placed throughout the town. One of these traps is cunningly hidden within a car, which detonates in a devastating explosion, as a gang member unwittingly opens the door. Inside the church, Kathy confides in Matt that there is a radio in one of the church rooms. With it, they could potentially call for reinforcements from police stations in neighboring towns. He agrees to give it a shot. When Diablo's men momentarily let their guard down, he seizes the opportunity to slip away into the designated room. Fortunately, the radio proves functional, and he urgently calls for reinforcements. Meanwhile, Kathy remains seated at the front of the church, and notices that one of Diablo's men is momentarily distracted. She seizes the opening to launch an attack, successfully disarming the gang member. After dispatching this threat, she instructs all the prisoners to relocate to a safer location on the other side of town. Elsewhere, Jim finds himself engaged in a fierce gunfight with Diablo and one of his henchmen. After a protracted exchange of gunfire, Jim eventually manages to eliminate the henchman, although Diablo remains elusive, who makes a break for his car, where he rendezvous with the rest of his gang. The surviving henchman informs him that police from a neighboring town will soon arrive, prompting them to hastily depart with the stolen money. Consequently, Diablo abandons the pursuit of Jim, focusing instead on escaping before the police can apprehend them. However, just as he is about to make his getaway, Jim reappears on the scene. A critical shortage of bullets doesn't deter Jim from pursuing justice. Diablo has caused the deaths of many innocent people, and Jim believes that only death can serve as proper retribution, and relentlessly pursues Diablo, who is now speeding away on a stolen motorcycle. The intense pursuit continues for a brief moment, before Jim's precise shot causes Diablo's motorcycle to crash onto the pavement. In that vulnerable moment, Diablo's injured leg renders him unable to flee any further. Jim has made up his mind not to show mercy. Diablo's heinous crimes demand a final punishment. He aims and fires, putting an end. A semblance of peace is restored to the city of Horse Cave. Jim resumes his duties as a police officer, and he finds companionship with Kathy, his girlfriend. A note of renewed hope and a promise of a brighter future for the town. The end. Thank you for watching. Subscribe if you'd like to see more videos like this. Turn on the notifications, and leave a like to help the channel out.